Former U.S. President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are intensively campaigning for support in Georgia and Pennsylvania, two battleground states considered crucial for determining the outcome of the 2024 U.S. presidential election. As the election date approaches, both Trump, representing the Republican Party, and Harris, the Democratic candidate, are focusing their resources and attention on key battleground states believed to be decisive. Among the 7 critical states, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Pennsylvania and Georgia have become top priorities for both candidates in recent days as they strive to win as many votes as possible. These two states are highly significant because of their substantial number of electoral votes and unique political and historical factors. Campaign efforts in Georgia and Pennsylvania, according to CNBC News, Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, have campaigned in Georgia 10 times since the beginning of their campaign, while Vice President Harris and running mate Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, have held 8 campaign events there. In Pennsylvania, both parties have each made 25 campaign visits to the northeastern state. On October 23, Harris addressed voters in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, warning Americans, especially undecided and moderate Republican voters, of Trump's perceived threat to America's core principles. Harris has emphasized concerns voiced by former high-ranking military officials from Trump's previous administration, calling him a fascist. She also voiced apprehension over Trump's calls for the military to counter internal enemies within the U.S. Harris's speech underscored a range of issues important to U.S. voters, such as border security and the economic and foreign policy differences her administration promises compared to Joe Biden's. While Harris was actively campaigning in Pennsylvania, Trump held a rally in Georgia, urging people to vote early or on Election Day, November 5. Trump outlined his economic plans, criticized the Biden-Harris administration on immigration, and made repeated allegations of political repression. 3 days later, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance arrived in Georgia to rally support and criticize Harris. Conversely, Democrats sought support from Georgia voters last week. On October 24, Harris made her first appearance with former President Barack Obama in Atlanta, Georgia. On October 25, Trump held another rally in Pennsylvania, addressing familiar topics such as inflation and social welfare. A Forbes poll published on October 24 showed Trump leading Harris by 1%, 49% to 48%, in Pennsylvania, while in Georgia, the two candidates were tied at 49%. Why Pennsylvania and Georgia matter? With 19 electoral votes, Pennsylvania ranks 5th in terms of electoral votes among all U.S. states, making it the highest-ranking battleground state this year. Historically, 10 out of the last 12 presidential winners have secured Pennsylvania, and since 1948, no Democratic president has won the White House without winning this state. Pennsylvania's diverse demographic composition, with 74.1% of its population white, 12.3% Black or African American, and 8.9% Hispanic, also shapes voter concerns here. Unlike Pennsylvania, Georgia has historically been both a Democratic and Republican state. While it voted for Democrats consistently from the late 1800s until the 1960s, Georgia has mostly supported Republican presidential candidates since 1964, with Biden's 2020 win being an exception. Georgia's population is approximately 49.6% white, 33.2% Black or African American, 11.1% Hispanic, and 4.9% Asian, with diverse priorities influencing its electorate. Polling results close to Election Day. A recent poll from Emerson College released on October 26 shows Trump and Harris tied at 49% nationwide. This reflects a slight shift from early October when Harris led with 50% support to Trump's 48%. Economic issues remain the top concern for voters, 45%, followed by immigration, 14%, threats to democracy, 14%, abortion rights, 7%, healthcare, 6%, and crime, 4%. The poll, conducted by phone with approximately 1,000 voters, has a margin of error of plus or minus 3%.